Hey, sports card fans, it's John Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. Today, I'm back with another video in which I choose my top 5 favorite cards of a particular player. At the end of last week's video, I spun the wheel of names and it landed on Joe Torre. Now, Joe Torre is in the Hall of Fame as a manager. He helped lead the Yankees to 4 World Series and over his coaching career won 2,326 games. But Joe Torre was also a really good ball player. Over 18 seasons, he had a career batting average of .297 with 2,342 hits, 252 home runs, and 1,185 RBIs. He was a 9-time All-Star and won the 1971 National League MVP award with the Cardinals. That year, he batted .363 and led the league with 137 RBIs. He also won a Gold Glove in 1965. So to help me narrow down the choices to pick my top 5 favorite Joe Torre cards, I went with the PSA Basic Topps Set Registry Checklist. It's 17 cards of his base Topps cards from 1972 to 1978. Now, here's where I would love all of you to participate as well. In the description of this video, I'll have a link to the PSA Basic Topps Set Registry Checklist for Joe Torre. And from those 17 cards, we'd love to know in the comments which are your top 5 favorite. And if you could number them 1 through 5, 5 through 1, it'll help me compile the results for the next video. And if there are some other Joe Torre cards that you like beyond those 17 base Topps cards, feel free to put them in the comments as well, and I'll have them as honorable mentions in the next video. Now, because of my schedule, I'm not going to be having another one of these videos next week, so you have 2 weeks to put in the comments letting me know which are your top 5 favorite Joe Torre cards. Now, before I get into my top 5 favorite cards of his, last week's video was on Gary Carter, and there were a good number of you who put in the comments letting me know which were your top 5 favorite cards of his. So I'm going to start off by going over the results of your comments and the various honorable mentions that you listed as well. Then I'll get into my top 5 favorite Joe Torre cards. I'll turn the camera around, show off the 2 cards of his that I have in my collection, and then we'll wrap things up by spinning the wheel of names to see which player will be the focus of the next video. So let's get started. All right, for Gary Carter, you had 19 cards to choose from. I incorrectly stated 18 cards in last week's video. I forgot to list his 1993 Topps, but the 19 cards in his basic Topps Set Registry Checklist goes from 1975 to 1993 Topps. All right, there were 7 of you who put in the comments letting me know which were your top 5 favorite Gary Carter cards, and here are the top 5 cards that were selected. In first place, his 1977 Topps with 6 selections, then his 1976 Topps with 5 selections. His 1980 Topps card had 5 selections, and then there was a tie for 4th and 5th with his 1983 and 1984 Topps cards with 3 selections each. Now, with only 7 responses, there were several Gary Carter cards that didn't get any selections as 81, 82, 86, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, and 93 Topps cards. All right, let's get into the honorable mentions first, and there were about 14 honorable mentions. With some of these players that have careers into the 80s, there's going to be a lot of non-base Topps cards that you may like, and I love seeing these honorable mentions. Starting off with his 1975 SSPC, sort of another rookie card of Gary Carter. Then his 1977 O-Pee-Chee card, which features a different image of Gary Carter than his regular Topps card from 1977, his 1982 Squirt, and his 1983 and 84 Fleer cards. Then we go to the 1985 O-Pee-Chee, showing there that he was traded to the Mets in December of 84. His 1985 Topps All-Star. The 1986 Broder card. The 1988 Drakes. And his 1990 Scorecard. And finally, we have four more here. His 1990 Upper Deck card. The 1991 Donruss Highlights card. His 1991 Topps Traded Tiffany card, and finally, when Topps had balls, a custom card in a 1975 Topps design. All right, how did your top 5 selected cards, how did they rank 1 through 5, and how did it compare to my top 5 favorite Gary Carter cards? At number 4, you had his 1984 Topps card, which I did not have in my top 5. At number 4, you had his 1977 Topps card, which I had as my 5th favorite. At number 3, you had his 1983 Topps card, which I had as my 2nd favorite. At number 2, you had his 1980 Topps card, which I had as my favorite Gary Carter card. And for the 7 responses overall, you chose his 1976 Topps card as your favorite, and I had that as my 4th favorite Gary Carter card. All right, on to Joe Torre. 17 cards from his basic Topps set registry checklist. I think I had a typo there or whatever when I said 1972. It's actually 1962 Topps through 1978 Topps cards. So from those 17 cards, you have to choose from for your top 5 favorite. But my top 5 favorite Joe Torre cards, starting off with number 5, I went with his 1963 Topps card. Again, just like the overall color of it, not really a color match. I'm usually very prone to selecting cards that have really good color match. The green at the bottom doesn't necessarily go with his uniform, but love the catcher image in the circle, the second picture there with the red background, stadium in the background. It's a standard batting pose, sure, but just love that Braves uniform from the 60s, and just overall, I think it's a really nice looking Joe Torre card. At number 4, I went with his 65 Topps card. Now again, not really a color match with the green. Would have been maybe better with, I know in 65 there was sort of like a bluish purple border that they used for some of the teams or players, but just love that banner of the 65 Topps design. You have the Braves logo there. And again, stadium in the background. Love cards that show the stadiums in the background. So I put this one slightly ahead of the 63, although they probably could be somewhat interchangeable. But I went with his 65 Topps card as my 4th favorite. At number 3, I went with his 77 Topps card. It's a bit of an in-action card. Wanted to try to get cards of his different teams, playing on his different teams, but this one here with the Mets, not a big fan of the 77 Topps design, but just thought this was a really cool in-action shot of Joe Torre. Notes there that he was playing first base at the time. And yeah, so I went with his 77 Topps card for my 3rd favorite. At number 2, I went with his rookie card, the rookie trophy, the All-Star rookie trophy. Love those cards. Love the catching stance, the hat turned around backwards. Again, stadium in the background. Doesn't look like a major league stadium. Looks like there's a house in the background there, which is interesting. Or probably some building, but it's an interesting background on this card. But yeah, you have the catcher's pose. Look at that huge catcher's mitt from the 60s there, and the wood border of the 62 Topps set. I think just makes for a very attractive rookie card of Joe Torre. And at number 1, my favorite Joe Torre card is a 71 Topps card. Now it's not a really close-up picture of Joe Torre, but what a great action image shot there of Joe Torre. You have what looks to be a batter in the on-deck circle. Doesn't look like a bat boy. I'm not sure who it is. I'm sure historians of cards and baseball may be able to tell me who may be in the background there. But it is with the Cardinals, 1971, his MVP season. And again, just a great action shot of him at the plate. And of course, you have the people in the stands in the background there and the dugout. So it has a lot of things going on. And I think with the black border of the 71 Topps design, it just focuses your attention on his image. And I just think it's a great card of Joe Torre. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around now and show off the 2 Joe Torre cards that I have in my collection. Okay, even though Joe Torre, again, is in the Hall of Fame as a manager, he's part of my Hall of Fame list that eventually someday I would love to, have cards featuring Hall of Famers of every year from 1948 to 1980, a huge undertaking. But I include him in the list of Hall of Famers, even though for those years he's featured as a player. So I haven't really gone after a lot of his cards yet, but I do have 2 that are in my collection. And the first one is his 1976 Topps card. It's a little dark there with the shadows and stuff. He's leaning against, I don't know, maybe something in the dugout, but you see some, the netting there and some fans in the background. So my guess it's near the dugout, possibly during batting practice, not quite sure there, but you got some, helmets there in the background. Now, the one thing I don't like about the 76 Topps design, I love the front design with the little cartoon there, if you want to call it that, of the position of the player. What I don't like about the 76 Topps set is the background, or the back of the card. It is really dark. I mean, in terms of seeing the stats, I mean, you really have to get it in the right light to be able to see all the numbers in that dark green background there. I'm not sure why Topps decided to go with that. Maybe if they had put the numbers in white, it may have stood out, but man, black ink on that dark green background just makes it really hard to see the stats of the player. But like I said, really love the front of the 76 Topps design. And then my other Joe Torre card is actually a manager card, but it's in his Topps run. And the reason being is, at least for the Joe Torre card, I'd have to look up the other cards to see, but for Joe Torre, instead of having like the team checklist on the back, shows him there as a player and as a manager for the Mets, actually has his career playing day stats. So you can see the 2,342 hits, 252 home runs, career batting average 297. So this is his last Topps card. It shows him as a manager, but it has his full career playing stats. So really cool card there, even though on the front it shows him as a manager. It shows here was named as player manager for the Mets May 31st, 1977, and was the winner in his first game ever as a manager as the Mets defeated the Expos at Shea Stadium 6-2 on May 31st. So he started off his Hall of Fame career as a manager in his first game with a win. So there are the 2 Joe Torre cards I have in my collection. So let's get to the Wheel of Names, give it a spin, and see which player gets selected for the next video. All right, as you can see, there are 34 names remaining on the Wheel of Names. So let's see which player gets selected. For the next video, we have Robin Roberts. All right, this will be good because I know Robin Roberts is in a lot of early 50s sets and love the design of early 50s cards. They're so beautiful. So this will be fun and probably a challenge for me to pick my top 5 favorite Robin Roberts cards. I don't believe I have any currently in my collection. That's another big gap. I have several gaps in my collection, and I think Robin Roberts is one of them. But regardless of whether I have any in my collection or not, will still be fun to choose his top 5 favorite. And remember, you have 2 weeks to let me know in the comments which are your top 5 favorite Joe Torre cards. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.